Hello everybody, welcome. We are back in Assassin's Creed 3. I am Blizzard Raptor. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, please consider leaving a subscription, like the videos that you watch, and leave me a comment. I'm always interested to hear what the people that watch my videos think of the content, or of the games, or of gaming in general. And with that, let's get into something to remember.
Auditore dare dizardi hoye was onogera dia garha gunchedeweta. Onogera dia deatia jataranire ne oya ganyoke haga ziwaterio. Uma wasundade donzaderi hua zeraguase. Yohunjanorunge yunguadena dayan. Danune amha ajunguaderi wayani ne Ayatia se Doni Sege Unjunza.
Arahaja zidogane gando ayatiri hune kiswas saha odisas taserayandane.
Yunguadora zine to naya de wayer hage. Yunguayat dodar he un zinogayera ne de tiswa neda. Danu ne dogat to no de wayere yot deru ayunguajonha se.
Onujera zitoni ori hawana ne aidawada den hodu.
Wait till you see what she has. A piece of Eden. Literally a piece of Eden. Amazing.
Onahoda tiga.
So the Iroquois here could be direct descendants of first civilization.
Greetings, Guardian.
Are you a spirit?
You may think of me as such.
Where am I?
You are where you were before. If you mean to ask what it is you now see, it is known as the Nexus. From here, probabilities are calculated so that the proper path may be chosen.
What path?
Yours. Follow me.
This reminds me of the Vision Quest from Far Cry Primal.
What have you done to me?
Selected a form familiar to your culture. It is designed to ease navigation. We have waited millennia for your arrival. You, who will bring to him the last piece, that he may open the door.
I do not understand.
Nor need you. I sense my words cause pain. But such was not my intention. You are important, child, in more ways than you will ever know. As we speak, forces gather in secret, preparing to seize control of the land.
Hatham and his Brotherhood.
If they succeed, the sanctuary will be breached.
So you'd think it sounds easy, but I don't like inverted up and down controls, so I don't get flight controls.
Yours is a special lineage. Past, present, future. Many are connected to you. Many who have changed the world, who will change the world. So too shall you. I have called you here that you might know your duty. You must protect the sanctuary from those who would undo our work.
What sanctuary? What work?
Maintaining your current course will result in a negative outcome. Premature access will destabilize the region. Your village and its people will be destroyed.
I am probably going to hit something in here as well. Yeah, I did there. I moved too early.
What am I to do?
You will learn of a man who will provide additional training. Seek this symbol. No doubt you have many questions. Time will see them answered. For now, you must follow, leading the Slayer.
So there you go. Something that remembers a short sequence. But we've been told to seek the Assassin Order. We know that's the symbol that he was shown. Now he's going to draw the symbol. Here it is. The symbol of the Assassin's Order.
Ladun hagerdun, got nuwe ni satka, tuntiga gari wayarunitstun.
Adun heads wagena duni. What garo di rungwe daya jadatka. Agena dun hase onio di akande. Da tune tigaro nungwe. Easy na gahanda di tunas. Gari wesi wagaderiandere. Tanu easy ki oni. Arahaja diza detni gon rizu ne dosa seri wayena.
Yungar haratstune ayadewa dunhunjanuna. Nexti da sheri de nise. De ot danu haje hunjage danu ya taundo ayungwa da se dunhage.
Ya ka atakitskoda danu agader harda dene ayadewa wanda ne.
Wat gunya do dari sigi. Owadu era osete.
Ohnu jera di desaderi huadenyani.
Aze gonya tak gweni daguri huadeni. Yahasa giga. Asetari jina hoda ze sakstit kada guinegans. Tonu e dagatka tone gari huayernitsto. Ne egi garun wera hawi. O jasniena zinio zizatnista hawasha gosniena.
Yama.
Seria sadoga, nekti gets hani sudzi ezos are harde. Was sezakane gari huayronitstu, satahatsari.
Find the symbol and find the way. Ooh. So a lot of what Juno was saying there, premature access to the vault would only draw more attention to his people and would result in them getting wiped out. So he's not to find the vault. Desmond's to find the vault. All Connor
Leaving home was harder than I thought.
was meant to do
I expected the
was
journey
guard
would
it.
fill me with a sort of pride, a sense of accomplishment. But whatever it was that carried me away from home soon fled, replaced by questions and no small amount of doubt. Had I been too hasty? Had I made a mistake? The others in the village, they thought this was something I wanted, something I chose to do. but it never felt that way to me. No, it was not a choice. It was an obligation. Because if not me, then who?
There's a certain fatalism to Connor's philosophy. Oof. I dare not look down there because I'd probably end up with crippling vertigo. Moving through this environment is so much easier than moving through Ezio's world. It's so much smoother. It's still not the smoothest parkour. I stand by my assertion that Assassin's Creed Unity has the best parkour in the series. Well and truly, easily the best parkour in the series. It is so easy to move up, down, across the world and through the world, through buildings, up one side, down the other, across the street, bouncing off and on and all that kind of stuff. It feels smoother, but Connor's the first time where you start to feel like Ubisoft really nailed these parkour mechanics that were so important and so like a defining characteristic of the characters in the series. But you can see what I mean about the awkwardness of the character models as well. There's something unnatural about Connor's stance, and so Desmond's stance in the game. But graphically, this game still looks pretty good. I'll give you an example here just now. You can see the lighthouse in the distance, so we've got a good draw distance on this. Good ambient noise, decent detail in the world and the environment. So Ubisoft did a really good job upgrading their game engine between the Ezio games and this. I'm not sure how much of a graphical upgrade Liberation got, so we'll be following up this game with Liberation, which is set in the same time period, roughly. I think it's just slightly later than Assassin's Creed 3. But the important thing about it is that it was the first female lead assassin that we got in the Assassin's Creed franchise, was Aveline de Grandpré, who was the assassin in the game Liberation. And hers is an interesting character story as well. He's moving automatically now, I'm not doing anything.
After him!
So you saw Achilles come up there and heard, "Get out of the way." Achilles is the man that we were sent here to find. We're going to meet him now. Achilles is the last surviving member of the Assassin's Brotherhood in North America. Remember when I told you at the start of this series that one of the big differences is that Connor's not a master assassin. He doesn't have a massive guild behind him. Instead, they're like small clandestine units that function in the series from now on. Similar to how you've seen Rebecca, Sean, Desmond and Lucy, now William, function in the future. That's what we're dealing with now. The order was still a big order until the Templars crushed them about a decade before this took place. So around about the time that Hatham switched his allegiance to the Templars, the North American Brotherhood was smashed and the power of the Assassins was greatly reduced. And the Assassins now really have no choice but to work covertly because they don't have enough numbers and they certainly don't have the manpower to do what Ezio did when he raised the Brotherhood to try and rescue Sophia in Revelations, you couldn't do that now. There aren't enough of them in one place at the same time. And Achilles is the survivor of that. I'm telling you this now because you would normally see this in Rogue, but I never have owned Rogue. Rogue came out when Assassin's Creed 4 came out, and I was so focused on Assassin's Creed 4.
You must be one of them native fellas from the, what's it called? Iroquois tribe. Aye. You from that?
Course not, Terry. Iroquois ain't a tribe.
Is so.
Is not. The Iroquois is a confederation.
Confederate what now?
Confederation, ya Tony. It's a group, an alliance. Lots of different kinds of people, all united.
Yeah.
Right. Like I said, a tribe.
Listen, ya curry-headed twiddlepoop.
That'll start a fist fight. We'll get to meet them properly later. But as I was saying, the events that I'm talking about are prequel to this story. And you would normally have, I would
tend to the wounded, resupply, and
play that for you.
What a load of pee-pop-bums. If he ain't no master, guess he's ours to do with as we please. Indeed, all in good time.
That's going to become important shortly as well. Yeah, so I would normally play through Rogue, but I don't own it, I never have. So I can't play through that for you guys. But I believe that Rogue tells the story of a Templar named Shay Cormac, an Irish assassin who leaves the Brotherhood when he becomes disillusioned with it and becomes an assassin hunter for the Templars. And during his campaign, during his story, you meet Haytham and find out why Haytham switched his allegiance. And you also find out about I think Shay's story leads up to the breaking of the Assassin Brotherhood in North America, and as a result of that, Achilles is left on his own. He's left because it's a punishment. Achilles is old, wounded as we're about to see, and when Shay's going to kill him, I'm sure it's Haytham that stops him and says, just leave him. He's no threat to us now. He's just a man without an order and without a purpose. He doesn't have anybody to support him. But the dangerous thing, the thing that you need to realise about the Assassins all the way through this series is that they understand the importance of one symbol, one figure. The Assassins are more than the men that have made up their order. It's their creed. And as long as one person carries the creed forward, that person has the knowledge to influence events in such a way that they don't need to have lots and lots of people, lots of rank and file. They just need that one person to keep carrying the creed forward. And so leaving Achilles alive was a mistake, because Achilles can teach. Pardon me. He can at least teach the next person to carry the creed forward. Even if he doesn't want to train a whole order, he can teach one person, and that one person can teach the next person, and they can teach the next person. So as long as one person's alive, the Assassin's Brotherhood is never truly beaten. But it's the same for the Templars, because the Templars have their own ideology. As long as a Templar remains alive, there will always be someone to pass on the Templars' ideology. And that's how the Templars survived being beaten by Altaïr and then being beaten by Ezio.
What?
I was told you could train me.
No.
Go away.
I'm not leaving!
Now, quick comment on what those guys were saying earlier about, did you hear him saying he has no master but himself, right? Those guys obviously believed he was a slave. They're poachers, but that doesn't mean that they're not people that would steal. So they thought that Achilles was a slave. I know it's a contentious topic, especially in this. I don't want to wade into a debate about slavery and historical interpret. There is no historical interpretation of slavery, in my opinion. In my opinion, it was wrong, and it was carried on far too long. It was abuse of one people by another people who used their technological superiority and perceived moral and religious superiority to abuse groups of people who did not have the capacity to stand up to the white Europeans, and therefore people from tribes in Africa were enslaved and sent to America, right? There is no historical argument that makes this in any way, shape or form correct. So all these people that have been arguing for all these statues of all these people who were in charge of the whole slavery industry, that's such a horrible term to use, but that's what it was. It was industrialized slavery. All these people who have statues in Edinburgh, statues in and around London, statues in and around Liverpool and other places where the slave trade took place, or rather where boats left to partake in the slave trade, and these people, these merchant families, grew rich off. When aristocratic families grew rich off the slave trade. All of these statues, in my opinion, should not be pulled down, but should instead be left with a plaque explaining the wrong, the historical wrong. If you take it away, it's like it never existed. If you take it away, I totally understand the reasons for wanting to take these statues away. You take these statues away and you are doing away with what could be argued as a monument celebrating the fact that that person was involved in the slave trade. However, if you leave it and contextualize it with a plaque saying what this is this person's name, this is what this person did was wrong, there is no glory to be found in the slave trade, there is no historical right, there is nothing like that. What this person did was wrong, their legacy was built on this horrific trade, and this statue stands here as a reminder to a period in history where some of the worst acts were committed from one human being to another, and it should be remembered so that it can never be repeated. In the same way we remember all the human tragedies that are inflicted, like the First World War, like the Second World War, like the Holocaust, like the dropping of the atomic bomb on Hiroshima. All of these things are wrong. The slave trade is wrong. It is wrong in the same context because so many lives were lost and so many people were abused. So I've had my say. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about it. I'm not going to talk about it anymore in any of these episodes. You all know my view. These guys that are talking about Achilles as if he was a slave think that he must come from a wealthy house, since only wealthy people could own slaves. I feel disgusted just saying that. And so the fact that there's a homestead here, a large colonial mansion, like, look at this. We'll learn a bit about Achilles quickly. This man was once the mentor of the Colonial Brotherhood, a powerful branch of the Assassins. Before he was an assassin, it isn't well documented. It seems most of the records were destroyed when the Templars nearly wiped out the Order in 1763. From what I do have, Achilles was recruited in the mid-1730s and became a mentor, the same rank as Ezio. In 1746. He had a gift for recruitment and organisation, so before long he was head of the assassins that spanned the colonies and much of the frontiers. He strengthened the ties between the Order and the nations of the Iroquois Confederacy, particularly Connor's tribe, although as far as our records show, Connor is the first Native American to actually become an assassin. So although he made it clear that the assassins were there to help the Iroquois, because they have always sought to protect First Civilization relics from the Templars, he didn't actively recruit members from the Iroquois Nation. Her actions during the Braddock expedition, along with her relationship with a known Templar, excluded her from becoming a clan mother herself. However, it seems that even after her child was born, she continued arguing for action in the war, rather than the restraint advocated by the village elders. She did, however, cut off all contact with Hatham. It's not clear why the Templars attacked in 1760 or what their objective might have been. The village was nearly destroyed, but recovered over the course of several years. I don't think we have anything on Connor yet. No, we don't. But we will get that soon. So yeah, here we have a large, very expensive looking colonial mansion. It has outbuildings and it also has stables. So to all intents and purposes, whoever owned this should have been wealthy, and that's drawn attention. It's not very secret.
I need a place to camp. This should do.
Bedroll. With one of them, you could pretty much sleep anywhere. I don't know why there's a small fire pit outside, because I don't imagine Achilles ever actually having to camp out here when he's got the big house. So, it's the following day. Let's go pester him again. Let's go knock on his door.
There must be another way in.
Now we're getting persistent. Oh, look, a back door.
Please, all I ask is a moment of your time.
I apologize if I've been unclear or otherwise confused you with my words. It was never my intention to mislead, so let me try to clarify. Get the hell off my land.
I'm coming up!
Try the balcony, okay.
Just hear me out. What are you so afraid of?
Afraid? You think I'm afraid of anything? Least of all a self-important little scab like you? Or you might dream of being a hero, of riding to rescues, of saving the world. But stay this course, and the only thing you're gonna be is dead.
Impressive that Achilles could do that given his injury.
The world's moved on, boy. Best you do too.
You can see his hat has that peak like the assassin's hood.
I will not leave. Do you hear me? I'm never leaving. Just wait, old man.
back down the way we came.
I will not be defeated so easily.
Well done. I like the fact that he didn't try to fight him as well. He's not come here to convince him with beating him down and...
Will train me. You have to.
Time to rest again.
These are square toes. This'll be easy.
That's what you said last time, and I wound up with a dead horse and a dark eye.
Who are you?
No one you need concern yourself with, little britches.
Best cut for something bad happens.
No.
Can't say we didn't warn you.
Oh, you guys are screwed.
Oi, brothers!
Do you quick.
Duel. So that's the first time you'll have seen one of them. If two people attack at the same time...
Look at the savage dog!
Yep.
Why are you here? What do you want?
Best ask the boss man.
You working for the old man, then? That it? Maybe this will get you talking.
And you thought he was using a hidden blade, but he wasn't.
Thank you. Clean this up. Then I suppose we should talk.
Assassins always got to clean your bodies up. Limited the health loss did it without actually getting hit. And have I cleaned them all up? Yes, I have. Good. Just making sure I wasn't expected to actually do that myself. I know they look like electric lights, they're not.
Sorry.
Not your fault. This whole place is ready to come down. Goddamn miracle it hasn't already. Anyway, who are you?
My name is Rado Hangado.
Right. Well, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. Now, tell me why you're here.
I was told to seek this symbol.
Do you even know what that symbol represents? Or what it is you're asking for?
No.
And yet, here you are.
The spirit said that I am...
These spirits of yours have been harassing the assassins for centuries. Ever since Ezio uncorked the bottle. But you don't even know what an assassin is, do you? Well, best settled in then. I've got a story to tell, and it's gonna take a while to get it all out.
The history of the Assassin Order.
And so, this is why the Assassins have dedicated themselves to the pursuit of the Templars. Because if they succeed, your spirit's visions will become reality.
Then I will stop them.
Oh, I have no doubt you'll try. Come on, I've something to show you.
So we got the story out in one night, but that won't be all the details.
Wasn't a joke when I said this place was coming apart.
Why don't you repair it?
What's the point? Besides, I don't have materials for the job.
So buy them.
Look at me. You think I can just march into some store, purse full of pounds, and go shopping?
Yes. Why not?
So naive.
Purse full of pounds, yes, the official currency of the colonies at this time is still...
This way.
Ye olde pound. Obviously that'll change. I love this place. Secret passage. Straight to the only part of the building that probably wouldn't fall down when the rest of it does. And here we have the uniform of an assassin. This is the colonial assassin uniform. It looks like a military coat.
I don't think you can just come in here, throw those on, and call yourself an assassin.
I did not. I would never presume...
That's all right. I know they've a certain allure. Very well. I'll train you. Then we'll know if you've the right to wear those robes.
Thank you.
Name's Achilles.
Oh, here we go, here we go.
Come on then. We've work to do.
This is what you get from now on in all the Assassin's Creed games. This is your list of targets. Hatham is the Grand Master of the Templar Order.
A nothing.
Charles Lee, the second in command.
Living in the dirt like animals, oblivious to the true ways of the world.
What do the Templars want?
What they've always wanted. Control. They see an opportunity in the colonies. A chance for new beginnings, unfettered by the chaos of the past. This is why they backed the British. Here they have a chance to illustrate the merits of their beliefs. A people in service to the principles of order and structure.
I have seen what is to come if they succeed. They have to die, don't they? All of them. Even my father.
Especially your father. He's the one holding the whole thing together.
Oof. Now, before you go thinking that Connors went to patricide there quite quickly, remember that he doesn't know Hatham. He's never met him. All he knows about him is
trained in running,
what his mum and her
in fighting,
taught him.
In falling. And for every lesson that concerned the body, there were two that concerned the mind. Language, philosophy, logic, the arts. Achilles taught most often of the Assassins and Templars, their structures, origins, and purpose. Centuries of history condensed into a few short days. I told him of the men who had burned my village, of Charles Lee, and my promise to him. Achilles explained that Lee and his followers were Templars, and that they were led by none other than my own father. If I was to serve the order, these men would become my targets. So I worked harder, learned faster, but for all my progress, it was clear that I still had much to learn. My training had only just begun.
So I'm going to let you see this because this kind of thing becomes important in future Assassin's Creed games. Although he's not really examining it. I don't know why. Right, okay. In future Assassin's Creed games, you get a list of targets like this. Now, you never really had anything like this in Altaïr's time. You got them one by one. You would go to Acre, for example, and go to the Assassin Bureau, and the Assassin Bureau would tell you the name of your target, but you would have to figure out how to take down that target, so you then had to go out into the city and do the missions, do the pickpocketing, do the beat-ups, do the rescue a citizen, until you had enough information to figure out how to get to your target, and then you would be allowed by the head of the local bureau to carry out the assassination, right? In Ezio's time, Ezio initially went after conspirators, the man who conspired to destroy his family. So he started with the lawyer who it turned out was a Templar who betrayed his family and buried the evidence that would have got his father and brothers proven innocent, and so they were all killed. And his first mission was revenge. He killed that guy, and then when he met Mario Auditore, he was told that the conspiracy went further than he thought it did. So Ezio went after the Pazzi because it turned out they were involved, and he had a natural enmity with Jacopo de Pazzi, who was a kid who was the same age as him, and they had fallen out quite a lot growing up. And so the fact that it bled over into the Assassin-Templar conflict never bothered Ezio at all. I'm just quickly checking my time so that I don't bore you guys with history lectures. So, to cut a long story short, Ezio only ever learned about who he was going to target when he turned up in somewhere like Rome or Venice and found out who was abusing people or oppressing people and figured out they were Templars, and then hunted them down and killed them in an attempt to head off the Templar movement. In New York outfit, Baltimore outfit, Boston, Jamestown, Charlestown, Assassin outfit, that's what Connor will wear. Ezio's outfit, which you can still get, Altaïr's, Prisoner, Achilles' original outfit. So this is what the colonial outfit looked like before Connor puts his embellishments on it. Captain Kidd's outfit, Captain of the Aquila's uniform, what I'm wearing just now, traditional colonial assassin, so back in the day. These ones refer to, so Bayek's outfit is Assassin's Creed Origins, Shay Cormac is Rogue, Jacob Fry is the male twin from Syndicate, Edward Kenway is Connor's grandfather, Arno Dorian is Connor's descendant, Alexios is way back in Odyssey, so in what we would call ancient history. And Aguilar outfit is, I think that's somewhere between. So they're the outfits that you can unlock, and I think they all go along here. But as you can see, there isn't really like an ultimate armour, so to speak. None of the outfits have anything beyond cosmetic relevance. Because your health is, the way your health works has changed in this game. So down on the left hand side beside the minimap, you'll have seen it going up and down. It regenerates itself, so we don't have to worry about having medicine or anything like that on us. Here we go. An errand. We're going on an errand with Achilles.
Good morning.
To you as well. You taking a trip?
I've decided to do something about the house, and you're going to help me. Get it?
This is going to be a strange situation for the time, and it shouldn't be. But if people see an African American who should be in the time period, should be someone's servant driving a Native American, in context of the period, it would be an unusual sight. As someone speaking in the 21st century, it is a man driving another man.
Sorry.
A person driving another person in a carriage. That's it. But everything is contextualized.
This place is incredible. The people, the sounds and smells. I could walk these streets for days and know not even half its wonders.
I thought the same as you upon a time. These days, I much prefer the quiet of the countryside.
But there is so much life here. So many opportunities.
For a few, my boy. For a few.
Yeah, learn that well. Because the opportunities aren't there for people like you or Achilles.
There's a store close to here. You're to buy the items on this list. Tell them where the carriage is, and they'll see that it's loaded. Understood?
Yes.
Good. You're also going to need a new name. Your skin is fair enough that you might pass for one with Spanish or Italian blood. Better to be thought a Spaniard than a native. And both are better still than I.
That is not true.
What's true and what is aren't always the same.
What would you call me then?
Connor. Yes, that will be your name. All right then, off you go.
That's a hard lesson to teach there. Connor's skin is pale enough that he can, instead of being recognised as a native, he can pass for being Spanish or Italian. And that's better than being thought of as a Native American who these white colonialists look down on. So it's bad to be a native, but what's worse is to be a black man. I find that horrendous. We are all people at the end of the day, and there is no superior or inferior. It just saddens me that that's the one thing I've learned from history, is that people have this stupid notion. Anyway, the Stamp Act was the British government's attempt to recoup some of the money they spent during the French and Indian War by taxing the American colonists, who theoretically benefited most from it. Therefore, the British government thought, well, since we did them a favour, they can pay for the war. Parliament chose a stamp tax. Parliament chose a stamp tax because it was simple, easily implemented, and the colonists couldn't smuggle their way out of paying it. All papers, from newspapers to legal documents to lawyers' licences, would need to purchase a government stamp to be used. Colonists, however, didn't think Britain had the right to tax them at all, since there were no colonial representatives in Parliament, hence the slogan, "No taxation without representation." They also resented the suggestion that they were responsible for Britain's war debts, since the colonial militia had a huge role in fighting and winning the French and Indian War. Huge public protests were organised or run by groups who called themselves the Sons of Liberty. Merchants declared a boycott of British goods, and most importantly, the people assigned to collect the tax were threatened and intimidated into resigning. The Massachusetts stamp distributor was even paraded through Boston by the Sons of Liberty and forced to resign at the Liberty Tree. No stamp taxes were ever collected, and the British repealed the Stamp Act in 1766, but it wasn't an entire victory for the colonies. Parliament then passed something called the Declaratory Act, essentially stating Britain had the absolute right to tax the colonists, and there wasn't anything the colonists could do about it. Nothing, that is, except start their own country. It's very easy to say, but with hindsight, all the British government had to do was simply say, fine then, send us your representatives. Or even better, set up your own colonial administration and we'll send over someone to represent the British government in your colonial assembly, and then we can discuss these things, which is quicker than ferrying people backwards and forwards by the sea in an age when wind power was what people travelled by. So, but the British government was a strange system of government, king wasn't officially out of government at this point. Although England had had its revolution, and then promptly, once, I forget his name now, once Cromwell had died, they then basically turned round and gave the crown back to Charles II. So not only had Cromwell beheads Charles I and sets up Parliament as the ruling body, and then Cromwell dies and his successors promptly give the crown back, to figuring it was better to have a king. So, but the government wasn't a democratic government. It was a government of the elite. In theory, there were elections held, but not the way we would. It's complicated. I'm not going to get into a big historical thing here, but just know that what would have been the government at the time basically turned round to the American colonists and said, "You are our subjects. You are the people in the home countries we make the laws for and decide what you can and can't do. And just because you've sailed a few thousand miles across the ocean doesn't mean that you start doing what you please. You are still subjects of the British Crown, and therefore you still have to do what we say. You still have to pay the taxes that we ask you to pay. You still have to obey the British law regarding the colonial territories." And I'm not just meaning the New World, like America and South America and Canada. Also, this is a kind of thing that they were saying to people who had went to into India and Asia as traders, and who had set up small colonies in these countries under Queen Elizabeth. So for a century, the British and other white European races had been spreading across the world. So by the 1760s, these were old established, like India and China and places like this. They were old established colonies, and the New World was still relatively new. The colonies weren't beholden the same way. There was a new freedom to be found in the New World, and it was a chance to leave behind the old absolutism of Europe and its monarchies and its pseudo-democratic governments. And I think the colonists were right to seize that and to take the opportunity to make something new. It may have taken longer if the British hadn't been so stubborn about it, but do you know what? At the end of the day, America, the colonists did what they thought was right, and America is what it is. It's there. 53 minutes in, so I'm going to stop it here, and then we'll pick up and continue with this sequence in the next episode. So thank you guys. I know this bit's turned into a bit of a long lecture. A lot of me moaning about history and things like that, and a lot of genuine chats about history. I like to do that as well, but I will try to remember that this is about gameplay and not just about the history, and I'll try to let the action flow more in the next episode for you guys. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you have, regardless of how the content's presented, I hope you're enjoying it. If you are enjoying it, do me a favour, subscribe to the channel, leave a like and leave a comment. I shall see you for another episode. If you want to see any of my other content, by the way, stick around for a few seconds. You'll get a video on screen and a playlist. Feel free to jump into them. You'll also see an icon to subscribe to my channel. Feel free to click on that. And with that said, take care of yourselves, guys. I will see you for another episode in the near future. Thank you and goodbye for now.